Sugar has been part of the human diet since olden times. It was introduced to the Western world by the Arabs, who brought both the plant and the knowledge for its cultivation to Sicily and Spain in the 8th and 9th centuries. However, sugar remained an expensive spice up until the 1800s, mainly due to the hassle involved in its production. But the Industrial Revolution changed all that, and now the industry is worth $67 billion. So how is it made? In the U.S., an estimated 55 to 60% of all the sugar produced comes from beets, while the remaining comes from sugar canes. Interestingly, both these sources require different climatic conditions to cultivate. Sugarcane is primarily grown in tropical and subtropical regions, while sugar beets are cultivated in temperate climates. The process begins with the selection of suitable land for cultivation. The land should have good drainage, access to water, and fertile soil. In the case of sugarcane, it is primarily propagated through stem cuttings called sets, while sugar beets are grown from seeds. On average, it takes the sugarcane plant 12 to 16 months to reach maturation. Once it does, it's time for harvesting season. In the U.S., the harvesting of sugarcane is done through specialized machinery. Once the sugarcane is harvested, it is fed into the base of a conveyor that drops it onto a transport bin that follows alongside. This sugarcane is then loaded onto trucks that deliver it to the mill. Once at a mill, trucks empty their load onto a receiving table along with the soil and rock. But if it's to be ready for the next stage, it must be as clean as possible. For this purpose, the cane is fed into a belt conveyor that takes the cane through strong jets of water and combing drums to remove large amounts of rock, trash, and leaves. Then, the cane's hard structure is broken down inside a crusher, where rotating hammers break the cane into smaller pieces. The crushed cane is loaded into a milling tandem that's designed to extract the sweet juice from it. Inside the milling tandem, the crushed cane passes through a series of 5 or more mills. Large cylinders compress the cane fiber, removing as much juice as possible. The juice is then diverted into a channel away from the bagasse, the dried pulp left behind after the juice has been extracted. The leftover pulp or bagasse is not wasted and instead can be burnt as fuel. The process is supervised at each of the mills to ensure quality control. Finally, a vat collects the juice that flows from the top and bottom of the mills. Now that the juice has been successfully extracted from the sugarcane, it's time to process it. But before this can be done, the sugarcane juice goes through a series of tests at the sugar mill's laboratory. In these tests, the juice is purified and then fed to a polarimeter. The most important parameter being checked for in these tests is the sugar concentration of the juice. This is done for a variety of purposes. It not only ensures consistent quality, but helps optimize processing, determines sugar yield, sets fair prices, meets regulations, and aids in scientific research and development. The sugarcane juice then falls through a 10-meter-high tower as sulfur dioxide vapors rise through it. This process is known as sulfitation. This preserves the juice by inhibiting the growth of microorganisms and also balances the slightly acidic aspect of it. In a separate vat, workers add powdered lime to water, preparing a solution to which they will then add the juice. An agitator mixes the cane and lime juice for about 6 hours to complete the process called alkalization. This helps further regulate the juice's pH level and clarify it. In reaction to the lime, the juice color changes from brown to yellow. Next, the juice goes into clarification tanks to remove any leftover impurities. It takes over 2 hours for the juice to settle and for the impurities to fall to the bottom of the tank. However, the residue isn't simply thrown away just yet. Workers filter the residue, also known as mud, to extract any remaining sugar. After the sugar has been extracted,